The Mass is the most important act of worship in the Catholic Church. It is the greatest worship we can offer to God, and it brings endless spiritual blessings to both the living and the dead. The picture shows religious workers preparing wine for Mass by pressing grapes. In some places, special ceremonies led by a bishop are held when the grapes are pressed. Because in the Mass, the victim is the same, Jesus Christ, and the main priest is the same, Jesus Christ. The Mass is the exact same sacrifice that Jesus offered at the Last Supper and completed on the cross. The Mass makes that sacrifice present again in a living way. Just as Jesus offered himself on Calvary, he offers himself in the Mass. On the cross his body and blood were separated by death. In the Mass he becomes present under the separate forms of bread and wine. When the bread and wine are consumed, the sacrifice is completed, just as it was when he cried out, "It is finished." The Mass is not just a reminder of Calvary. It actually renews Jesus' sacrifice. The separate consecration of the bread and wine shows the separation of his body and blood. At the Last Supper he said, "Do this in remembrance of me," and St. Paul says that every time we eat the bread and drink the cup, we proclaim the Lord's death. Jesus created the Mass as a visible sacrifice that would continue the sacrifice of the cross. Jesus Christ is the main priest at every Mass. He offers his body and blood to God the Father through the ministry of an ordained priest. In both the crucifixion and the Mass, the same high priest offers the same victim, Jesus himself. The priest at the altar acts in Christ's place. That's why he says, "This is my body," and "This is my blood," not, "This is Christ's body." Yes. The difference is in how the sacrifice is offered. On the cross, Jesus physically shed his blood and died. In the Mass, he does not physically die again, because he can never die again. On the cross he earned the grace that saves us. In the Mass he applies those graces to us. Jesus died once on Calvary and can never die again. So how can we say he is sacrificed at every Mass? The Mass makes present the same sacrifice of Calvary, but in an unbloody way. Christ does not physically shed his blood at Mass, even though the separate consecration represents his death. Jesus continues to offer himself in the Mass to unite us with him, to give us something worthy to offer God, and to share the fruits of his sacrifice with us. Through the Mass, the graces Jesus won on the cross are applied to our souls. The Mass is how Jesus planned for the grace of his death to reach every person in every time and place. Because of the Mass, the power of Calvary is present to people in every age and country. At Mass we can repeatedly offer Jesus to the Father, receive him in communion, and stay close to him in a deep and personal way. Jesus offered himself alone on Calvary. In the Mass, he offers himself together with us, because through baptism we are members of his mystical body. Jesus gave us the Mass as a visible sacrifice that continues his sacrifice on the cross until the end of time. The Mass is not just a memory. It truly renews and continues his sacrifice and is the same sacrifice he offered for us.